For the best experience, please use headphones or listen in a quiet environment. Break free from the illusion of security. Embrace change, overcome fear, and unlock your true potential. Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. How often do you catch yourself yearning for security? The certainty of knowing that your beliefs, your relationships, your life path are all locked in and safe? Think about it. Doesn't that sound comforting? But here's the kicker. What if I told you that this search for certainty, this need for security, is nothing more than an illusion? Let's break it down. Security, as most people perceive it, is a psychological construct. It's the stories we tell ourselves to feel in control. It's clinging to routines, relationships, and ideologies because they make us feel grounded. But the hard truth is this: life doesn't operate on guarantees. Life is fluid, unpredictable, and constantly changing. Why is this important? Because understanding this frees you. When you accept impermanence and embrace uncertainty, you unlock a new level of freedom and power. The only constant in life is change. Heraclitus, a Greek philosopher, said it best. The only constant in life is change. Think about that for a moment. Everything in your life, your career, your health, your relationships, is subject to change. Fighting this reality is like trying to hold back the ocean. It's futile. But here's the empowering part. When you accept change, you learn to adapt. You become resilient. You stop fearing the future because you understand that it's not something to control, but something to embrace. Your action item. Identify one area in your life where change is happening. Reflect on how you've been resisting it and what steps you can take to flow with it instead of against it. Write these steps down and take the first one today. In the middle of every difficulty lies opportunity. Albert Einstein gave us this gem. In the middle of every difficulty lies opportunity. What does that mean for you? It means that every challenge you face holds a lesson or a chance to grow. But here's the catch: you have to look for it. Too often, we're so focused on the pain of the difficulty that we miss the opportunity hidden within it. Your action item. Think back to a recent struggle and ask yourself, what did I learn from this? How did this shape me? Write down 3 ways you can apply those lessons to improve your current situation. What are you really chasing? Now let me ask you another question. What are you really chasing when you seek security? Is it peace of mind? Happiness? Stability? Here's the paradox. The more you cling to security, the more you create anxiety. Think about it. When you're constantly trying to predict and control everything, you're living in a state of fear. You're afraid of what might go wrong. Instead of chasing security, what if you started chasing growth? What if you embraced the adventure of life's uncertainty? Write this down. Growth begins where your comfort zone ends. That's not just a motivational line. It's a way of life. Your action item. Make a list of 3 things you've been avoiding because they feel uncertain or uncomfortable. Commit to taking a small, manageable step toward one of them this week. Why do we fear uncertainty? Let's talk about fear for a second. Why do we fear uncertainty? Because uncertainty triggers our survival instincts. It's wired into our DNA to avoid risks. But here's the thing, we're not living in caves anymore. Most of the fears we have today are psychological, not physical. And the antidote to fear is not more security, it's courage. As Nelson Mandela once said, I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. So let me ask you, what fears are holding you back? Are you afraid of failure? Rejection? Loss? Your action item. Write down your top 3 fears. Get specific. Then, for each fear, write 1 small step you can take to face it head-on. For example, if you fear rejection, practice putting yourself in situations where you might hear no and see how you can grow from it. Courage is a muscle, and the more you use it, the stronger it gets. It is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. Charles Darwin's insight reminds us that adaptability is the ultimate superpower. Life isn't about having all the answers. It's about learning to adjust when the questions change. Think about a time when you resisted change. How did it feel? Now contrast that with a time you embraced change. Which path led to growth? Your action item. Write down 1 area in your life where you've been resistant to change. Brainstorm 3 ways you can approach it differently. Share this commitment with someone who can help hold you accountable. Happiness depends upon ourselves. This quote from Aristotle is a powerful reminder that happiness isn't found in external circumstances, but within. How often do we link our joy to achievements, possessions, or people? Aristotle's words challenge us to cultivate inner peace and contentment regardless of life's chaos. Your action item: start a daily practice of self-reflection. Spend 10 minutes each evening journaling about moments of joy or gratitude you experienced that day, no matter how small. You must be the change you wish to see in the world. Gandhi's timeless advice underscores the importance of personal responsibility. It's easy to blame others or external factors for our struggles, but true transformation starts with us. Are you embodying the values you want to see in others? If not, what's stopping you? Your action item: pick one value: kindness, resilience, integrity, and identify ways to actively practice it this week. Make it visible in your actions and interactions. The illusion of certainty in relationships. Let's shift gears and talk about relationships. How many of you have stayed in a relationship, whether it's romantic, professional, or platonic, because it felt safe? Maybe you were afraid of being alone. Maybe you thought, this is as good as it gets. Here's the truth: no relationship comes with a guarantee. People grow, people change, and sometimes people part ways. But that's not a bad thing. It's a natural part of life. Clinging to a relationship out of fear is like holding onto a branch in a storm. You're not living, you're surviving. Here's a quote to reflect on: don't be afraid to lose people. Be afraid of losing yourself by trying to please everyone around you. Your action item: take stock of your relationships. Identify one that feels more like an obligation than a source of mutual growth. Have an honest conversation with that person about what's working and what isn't. Be willing to make changes, even if they feel uncomfortable. You must let go of the life you plan to accept the life that is waiting for you. Joseph Campbell's wisdom hits hard, doesn't it? So often, we're so attached to our plans and expectations that we miss the beauty of what's unfolding right in front of us. Think about a time when life didn't go as planned. How did it redirect you to something better? Your action item: write down a time when life veered off course. Reflect on the unexpected opportunities it brought and the lessons you learned. How can you apply those lessons to your current challenges? The power of acceptance. Now, let's talk about acceptance. Acceptance is not resignation. It's not giving up. It's recognizing reality for what it is and deciding how you're going to respond. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and the author of Man's Search for Meaning, said, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." Think about that. There are so many things in life you can't control. Other people's actions, the economy, the weather, but you can always control how you respond. And that's where your true power lies. Your action item: practice acceptance this week. When something doesn't go your way, instead of reacting with frustration or anger, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what's the lesson here? How can I grow from this? Living in the present moment. Here's another truth bomb for you. Most of our suffering comes from living in the past or worrying about the future. But the only thing you truly have is this moment, right now. Eckhart Tolle, in his book The Power of Now, says, realize deeply that the present moment is all you ever have. Make the now the primary focus of your life. How often do we miss out on life because we're distracted? How many sunsets have you ignored because you were staring at your phone? How many conversations have you half-heartedly engaged in because your mind was elsewhere? Your action item: this week, commit to being fully present for at least one activity every day. Whether it's having dinner with your family, taking a walk, or even just drinking a cup of coffee, give it your full attention. No distractions, no multitasking. Gratitude as an anchor. When you're facing uncertainty, gratitude can be your anchor. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's already here. As Oprah Winfrey says, be thankful for what you have, you'll end up having more. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you will never, ever have enough. Your action item: start a gratitude journal. Every night before bed, write down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big things. Sometimes the smallest moments bring the most joy. Reframing challenges as opportunities. Let me ask you this. When life throws you a curveball, do you see it as a problem or an opportunity? Your perspective shapes your reality. A challenge is only a challenge if you label it as one. Otherwise, it's an opportunity to grow, to learn, to evolve. Tony Robbins often says, life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. Every setback is a setup for a comeback, but you've got to be willing to see it that way. Your action item. Think about a recent challenge you've faced. Write it down. Then, write 3 positive outcomes that could come from this challenge. This exercise trains your brain to focus on possibilities instead of limitations. Ships are safe in harbor, but that's not what ships are built for. This anonymous quote serves as a perfect metaphor for life. You weren't built to stay safe in the harbor. You were built to sail into the open seas, to explore, to take risks, and to grow. So what are you waiting for? Your harbor may feel secure, but it's also limiting. Your action item. Identify one harbor you've been clinging to for safety. What would stepping out of it look like? Write down 3 steps to venture into the unknown. Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path, and leave a trail. Ralph Waldo Emerson challenges us to embrace individuality and courage in the face of uncertainty. What legacy are you building by forging your unique path? Your action item. Identify one area in your life where you can take a bold, unconventional step, even if it feels uncertain. What risks could you embrace that might lead to greater fulfillment? Final thoughts and call to action. So, here's the bottom line. The search for security is an illusion. True freedom comes from embracing impermanence and uncertainty. It's about living fully in the present moment, practicing acceptance, and focusing on growth over comfort. Now, I want you to do one thing today. Choose one action item from this talk, whether it's facing a fear, practicing gratitude, or being present, and commit to it. Just one step can start a ripple effect of transformation in your life. If this message resonated with you, hit that subscribe button and tap the notification icon. When you do, you're not just staying connected with content that can empower and inspire you, but you're also helping us reach more people who need this message. And don't forget to like this video. It tells the algorithm that this is content worth sharing. Finally, I want to hear from you. Is there a specific topic you'd like us to dive into? Something that can help make this world a better place? Drop it in the comments. Your input shapes the content we create. Thank you for spending your time with me today. Remember, the life you've always wanted is on the other side of your comfort zone. Go out there and make it happen.